Here is another interesting topic worth of looking at. The question that begs an answer is, what is aid? Aid, in simple definition, can be said to be the transfer of resources from one place to another. These could come in the form of food, equipment, money, medical stuff, clothing, and other forms of assistance that we can get. But why are we talking about aid? Africa is a continent which has been said to be a sleeping giant, and the dosage that has been given to Africa to remain a sleeping giant is called aid. When you look around the Western countries, they've got so many aid organizations: Danish aid, British aid, US aid, Swedish aid, Finnish aid, and so on. What is the main reason we have all these? Is because they want to make Africa remain in servitude to them. Because aid does not solve any problems, because it is meant for just to provide a relief for a short period of time. They will give us money, but is that solving a problem? They will give us food. Is that solving a problem? Certainly no. An African proverb says, teach a man how to fish and don't give them fish. Africa does not need the fish, because the fish represents the aid. But teaching us how to fish is what Africa needs. We are in the 21st century, and looking at the educational levels on the continent, they are quite encouraging as compared to the previous century. Therefore, this simply means that Africa has the technical know-how of managing, number one, its education system, number two, its finances, number three, its technical support, that is the infrastructure and other key areas of the economy. So, the aid that we have so much depended on for a long time as a continent is not serving us any good, but to make us remain in servitude to our former colonizers. So going forward, Africa needs meaningful development. And what do we need to do as a continent? Number one, we need to improve our infrastructure. Our road network needs to be improved. And we are on the right path. We are building the right kind of roads that we need for our development. Number two, we need a robust agricultural program. When we begin to feed ourselves as a continent, and of which we are currently doing, is going to make us self-sustainable and not dependent on others. If we don't have the food to feed ourselves, then we will make ourselves vulnerable to the aid that comes from the Western countries. So as a continent, the only key to solving the problem of aid is utilizing the resource that is so precious to us, the resource that we have upon us, land. Let us till our land for our agriculture. Once our economies are dependent upon agriculture and we're able to feed ourselves, that is going to give us the right amount of development that we desire. Let's look at it. For example, Chad's economy depends upon agriculture. 50% of the economy's GDP is dependent upon agriculture. Then come to South Africa and Botswana. Agriculture accounts for less than 5%. Why? Because they're mainly mining countries. So, when you look at the land that Botswana has and the land that South Africa has, there's so much potential in agriculture. We can do the best in agriculture and start feeding ourselves as a continent. Once we start doing that, we'll stop depending upon the assistance that comes from the Western countries. The assistance that is just meant for relief, to make us go back to them and beg. When that food that they give us comes to an end, what happens? We run back to them. We are asking for more food. And that keeps us in servitude to them. So let us not make ourselves vulnerable by going to ask for aid. But we need to do away with this aid and focus on things that are going to make us great as a continent. And the key to that is agriculture. Let's produce more food for this continent. This continent has a population of over 1.3 billion people, slightly below the 1.4 that is in China, which simply means Africa has the ability and the capability to feed herself. Unlike the notion that we've been given to say we are unable to feed ourselves, we can feed ourselves. All we need is a robust agricultural undertaking. That way, we shall stop going to ask for aid. And these organizations that have been created in order to make Africa remain in servitude to them shall no longer be meaningful to us as Africans.